All right, hey guys, this is DrEnderPickles, straight from the ruins of Shenandoah. I'd like to welcome you all to the first episode of the DrEnderPickles Show. Today we have Jared2013 on, and I've got Tex as my co-host. So, Jared, do you want to introduce yourself?
Howdy, howdy.
That's Tex, not Jared.
Yeah. What do you want me to say exactly?
Just, introduce yourself like, hey, I'm Jared2013, guys.
Alright, I'm Jared. I've been playing this shit server 2B2T for 6 years now. That's pretty much all there is to it.
Alright, well, we've had some interesting conversations lately, and it gave me this idea to, interview you for my channel. And I wanted to ask you some stuff. So, right off the bat, I want to know what were some of the highlights of your history on 2B2T? And why you think
that's a good question. Highlights. I mean, there's been a lot of things that I've done. I like destroying things, and specifically the Imperator base was one of the things I most enjoyed to destroy.
Why exactly do you like destroying things, though? You gave me this really convoluted answer last time, so I'm hoping that
let's see.
Pull that out again.
Why do I like to destroy things? I don't know if there's one specific answer. It's really situational. I enjoy destroying things as a result of I don't know. Really depends. I can overreact to somebody doing something, purposefully overreact, and then destroy their things as a result. There are lots of justifications for it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of that's what a lot of people's reasons for destroying stuff is, overreacting and whatnot. I've never destroyed a base on 2B2T, but rumors say I have.
You've never destroyed a base, huh?
Never griefed a base, never leaked a base. I'm not a bad guy.
Is that a good thing?
Good guy, Pickles. Good guy, Pickles.
Yeah, good guy, DrEnderPickles.
I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, that you haven't destroyed anything.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear about too. You have a really interesting philosophy, and I want to know what your definition of good and evil on 2B2T is, and if there even is one.
Alright, hold on. I'm in the middle of actually destroying a base right now, so...
Called you during the right time. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm lava casting though, so it should be pretty mellow. Okay. Oh no, this guy is pillaring up. He's trying to kill me. What was your question?
Question was, what's your philosophy on good and evil on the server, if it exists, and where you stand?
Good and evil.
I mean, it's a block game, but 2B2T kind of transcends in a way, I feel like.
I don't know if there actually is a good or evil.
I mean, in Anarchy, people they make a lot of choices. It's all about choices where you end up.
Yeah, well, let's see. True evil. I mean, there's no real definition for true evil. If you observe my own history, like, I've destroyed a ton of bases. I've had a lot of people taken off of the server permanently. But I've also done things like leading the 6th and 5th incursion. And I've made bases as well. And right now I'm actually owner of the wiki, so...
Oh, yep, that's exciting too. Recently you've tried to revive the wiki after it went down. What exactly were the pretenses of that?
Pretenses? I'm not quite sure. I mean, I just suppose I enjoyed the concept of having a wiki. And so as a result, when it went down, I decided that I would become the owner of the new wiki.
Yeah,
I
and
guess I'm competent.
it looks really promising so far from what I've seen. A lot less Valkyrian biased than the last
Valkyrian
wiki
bias,
was.
yes.
There was too much Sato bias there,
That's because they took all other articles from Sato.
and James Russell's.
Basically the same person.
So I want to go deeper in on your philosophy on the server because I think that's one of the most interesting things about
My
you.
philosophy?
If
What
that's what you want to
facet of
call
my
it.
philosophy?
Just how you operate on the server. You operate in a very logical and almost planned out way. It's weird. I want to get in your mind.
Well, here's an interesting thing for you, I suppose. During the 6th incursion, the 6th incursion was the enemy of this group named Infrared, and since the 6th incursion has ended, I've actually managed to build a friendship with some of the leaders of the Infrared faction, and now I'm within the Infrared faction and slowly reconstructing it. So, my philosophy on the server, as proven by that example, it's not something that's completely static. It's dynamic. At one point, I did hate the Infrared people, but now I've joined them. I'm helping them. So, let's see. That is pretty dynamic overall.
Yeah, and you do have a bright and colorful history on the server, just kind of moving around and meeting different people. So it's interesting how you can kind of flip the script and go from good Jared to I'm gonna blow up and raid everything you own.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how I've built the personality.
Yeah, I've always noticed
I've made it so that I can do that.
I've always noticed that whenever I would have like conversations with you, that it would be one day where you're like, "Oh man," where I'm like, "Oh, Jared's so cool," and then the next day it's like he's blowing stuff up and like making fun of you in chat, and it's hilarious how you can just shift personalities like that.
Yeah, it's a classic move.
Classic Jared2013 move.
Let's see what else though. Yeah, no, I've built the personality for Jared. It was all planned out. What I did with FitMC and what I did with the Camping Rusher to gain that fame. And because I have that fame, people want to do things with me. And because people want to do things with me, it gives me leverage in destroying their bases and getting access to their items. So I can do whatever I want.
That is what I picked up on too. People, it almost seems like, look up to you in a way, kind of like how people look up to Pop Bob, but they know absolutely nothing about his history on the server and how like actually stupid he was. But with you, you've done so much important stuff on the server that just gives people more of a reason to feel like they can trust you. That false empathy, not even called empathy, that false sense of understanding.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's kind of awesome how you
it's kind of a strong point.
How you understand
it's
people
just
like that.
Easy manipulation is what it is.
See, and that's what I find unique about you on 2B2T is that, people can take these approaches where they know a lot about the game and they can do a lot of interesting stuff in the game with that knowledge, but you kind of take it outside of the game and into someone's mind. You take it like
well, the mind is actually part of the game as I see it.
Definitely there's always a player there's always a person behind the player.
Yes. And usually the people are more susceptible to certain things that can be exploited. Like this big glitch I like to called trust, which I often exploit.
If you've played 2B2T long enough, you know that trust is basically non-existent. Well, you can have trust, but there's no
trust is an existent thing. Trust exists between everybody who talks to each other. Look at what's going on right now. There's some things that you can trust me to do. Or you trust me to some degree because we're having this conversation. You can't trust somebody that you don't know. Some level of trust is established with every word that is mentioned between two people, at least two people. That's how you build friendships. You don't build friendships by being antisocial. You'll build friendships by being social, and that's what I've done in the 2B2T community. I'm very social. I've always been social. As a result, people feel like they can trust me because they feel like I'm predictable.
It was crazy how you just approached me out of nowhere to talk, and it turned into, over time, what we're doing right now, which is me having you on as an interview on the first of hopefully many interviews that I plan to have. You know, to kind of inspire me to do that. And, like, yeah, I trust you to be on this podcast, but I would never, ever trust you to be at a base with me on 2B.
That's what you say now, but you'll see that trust is established over time. And perhaps beyond this podcast, I might become friends with you, and we might become such good friends that I might come to your base, and then perhaps the next thing you know, it's blown up, and you'll
that's what I find interesting about you. That's what I find so amazing about you. I guess amazing is a good word to use, because like the amount you've done on the server and the way you do it is so crazy to me. It's really
taken a lot of practice.
There's not many words I can use to describe it, because it's actually mind blowing. I don't want to up your ego here, but I find it all really interesting.
Well, it's not unique to me. It's something that anybody can do. It's just psychology that I haven't been taught to personally, but psychology that I've learned through personal experimentation on other people. I know all the ins and outs of how a person's mind works in relation to trust. And with that knowledge, I use it to grief bases on a block game server.
Yes, I guess.
But yes, it applies to real life as well.
Yeah, okay, go into that, because you were talking about that briefly. How do you...
what, real life?
Yeah, well, don't go too much in detail, but just like...
I do the same thing in real life. Absolutely.
Explain how you do that. Okay, explain how you...
How do I do that?
Yeah, how does it come through?
It relies on this simple concept. If you are social with somebody, if you reach out towards somebody and you're nice to them, they will be nice back, even if they are mean to you initially. It's a nice thing. It's treat your enemies with respect to some degree. Treat people who are mean to you with respect to some degree, because that opens up, I suppose, some level of trust between the two people. And with that, it's very powerful. It's more powerful than words. You can tell somebody they're a faggot, or you can demonstrate it. You can demonstrate it by gaining their trust and obliterating them thereafter.
Tex, you need to take some advice from him.
That's how I do it. I don't insult people.
Yeah, no comment.
Well, I mean, I've insulted people in the past. You can Google, I think, Jared versus Bob or Jared goes full ISIS versions 2 or 3. They're out there, but for the most part, I like to gain trust. It's a long and slow road, I suppose, but it's a lot more damaging in the long run, or it could be beneficial, and that's what I like to do.
It's like another game in itself for you.
It is. It's just psychological manipulation, I suppose. But what I like to do really is, and I've actually kept true to this for the duration of my time on 2B2T, I don't grief bases that I'm invited to, because if somebody has the balls to invite me, then I think they deserve to live. Due to my history, obviously.
Alright, so I feel like we've talked enough about your philosophy. I know this isn't the cleanest segue, but I would like to talk about your 30 Days, 30 Griefs that you did recently. If you can tell us anything about how you did it and the process,
The official name is the Month of Destruction, not to be confused with the Week of Destruction, which was something in 2016, which I also took part in.
See, I didn't know about that. That's what a lot of people don't realize, or maybe they do. I don't know that much about 2B, even though I was around since 2014, because I didn't really pay much attention to what was happening.
Yes.
So I'm very ignorant to a lot of things, but I'm still, learning a lot.
Well, let's see. 31 days, 31 bases. That was the biggest griefing spree I've ever been on, and it was mainly people who supplied me with coordinates. After I destroyed the first 5 or 10 or so bases, people started giving me coordinates to continue the spree. I had it all planned out, though. I knew exactly which base I wanted to destroy on which day. Unless some days I didn't even have anything planned, and I had to just rely on the fact that people were giving me coordinates. And it worked out. What was it? May 31st, I destroyed Equilibrium, which was the finale, the planned finale.
That's crazy. I can't look. No, I have never griefed a base. I can't fathom griefing 30 bases in a row. It's just insane to think about the amount of planning that probably went into that too.
It was quite a lot of planning, yeah. It was more entertaining for me, though, rather than destroying the bases, to see how the community reacted.
And
at one point, the entire Reddit was flooded.
That's another thing I want to hit on too, the aftermath of the month of destruction, as you call it. I want to know. Okay, there were a lot of rumors surrounding it. I was not too informed on those. I want to know what you personally think of those rumors and what is the truth regarding the month of destruction.
Well, I'm not going to release anything beyond what I already said, which is people have given me coordinates, in addition to some other methods of collecting coordinates. Obviously, during the month, actually, I believe the exploit involving natural terrain that came out. We used that to destroy, what was it? Baron Dome, Casual MC, and Dr. Zombie. I believe it was their base, yeah. We destroyed that with that exploit. But other than that, the rumors surrounding the month of destruction, most of them are false. It was not a backdoor or anything like that. There has not been a backdoor on TBTT in a very long time. But, yes, that's all I say about that.
Speaking of backdoors, this wasn't even in my mind. This is why I'm so excited. Little backstory here. Before I started the idea of this interview, we wanted to not plan stuff and to let it flow. And I think this worked for the best because I want to ask you about this now. You are associated with Tyranny, right? Or some sort of...
I still am. The Tyranny is still a thing that's operating today.
Tell me more about that, because I think a lot of people that watch, Fitz videos, most of his videos are very uninformed. They are very biased, and I want to.
He's very blue-pilled.
Yeah, exactly. I want to give people the red pill today, because I feel like that's what they come to my channel to do.
All right.
I want you to tell them your side of the story, what you experienced, like your experiences in Tyranny.
You want the story of it?
Just go for it.
All right. Well, let's see. It all began in 2013. I was befriending Tristan in Pyrobike. And once I became friends with Tristan, he introduced me to a couple other people. So fast forward just 2 years, because nothing interesting happens between 2013 and 2015. I grief a few bases, including Ormonger's base. And in 2015, we established this base called New Zion. And New Zion is very important because it housed some of the most infamous 2BTT players, including, let's see, Tristan, Pop Bob, Predator, Cream of the Slop. I think Silver Crown King was there for a little bit. Zarvier and many others. It was very, very, I guess, revolutionary because lots of those players hadn't played in years, and specifically Pop Bob, who at that point was known as the biggest griefer on TBTT. He actually lived with us and he was building. And that was really the day that the Tyranny was founded, though not officially. That was when I became friends with Pop Bob, and I became friends with many of the members of the Tyranny, or future Tyranny. So if you fast forward then to 2016, the month is April, and Taylor112 has discovered, along with Cartman, the bed teleportation glitch. Now, I talked to my friends Tristan. It was actually Taylor and I who founded the Tyranny initially. It was a Skype group, and then we invited Tristan, and the fourth member was Pop Bomb, who had that account Radical Hiccup at the lands, and he was the one who placed the final link. And that was the birth of the Tyranny, the official birth. And after that, the week of destruction was something involving the Tyranny. We destroyed a base every single day of the week. Most of them were bases of Jack the Ripper, who has, to this day, had me on his ignore list. Yeah, fun fact. So after that, we invited Clyde as the fifth member. After that, Brunillan. After that, Frickin', and then I Am Tuna as the eighth member. And let's see. We had a back door in 2016. We lived inside a bedrock sphere called the Archive. We had every single item in the game as of 2016. And at one point, even Housemaster was going to be a member of the Tyranny. but that never happened. He had placed for us a dragon egg and several other things at the base, actually. He built for us an end portal encased in bedrock, and this was the image which I leaked at the time, and Sato caught wind of it, and he posted it on the Reddit. In his now infamous public service announcement, 2B2T is backdoored, which was a really large turning point, I suppose, in the server, because after that, everybody flocked to Constantium. 2B2T was dead for a while, and as a result of that, Yellowstone Joe made his post on r/Minecraft, and the camping rusher saw it. And you know the rest.
Big chain of events, yeah. Yeah, Drew was telling me about
Yes.
some of that, about Sato getting salty and jealous of not being involved with you guys.
Well, yes, it was the first time that a backdoor had not been made by, well, actually not the first time, because Pop-Up had some back in the day, in 2011 and 2012, but it was the first time since those Pop-Up backdoors that somebody who wasn't involved with Pyrobyte, had access to this type of technology.
That is absolutely insane, and I have two statements, well, a statement and a question to say about that. Statement: the most I knew about Tristan and Pyrobyte back when I played in 2014 was that they owned 3B3T, which
That's right.
Looking back was probably an IP logger, and Pyrobyte had come to Legion at one point, Shenandoah, for some reason, can't remember why, and that was really it. And another question I have is Housemaster. I think that's another thing that people don't really understand, is that he is not the same Housemaster, right? Like, he has changed. His account
not
has changed
exactly.
over the years.
You have to remember that 2B2T, before it was a server, it was a LAN server, and it was just hosting his friends. And those other people who were his friends back then, they never were not admins beyond that time period. They've always been admins of the server, and Housemaster was just the most outspoken of them all. That's why he's recognized to be the owner of the server. But in reality, it's a bunch of people. And so you have Housemaster and George Bush 420. Those are two different people. Cat Whisperer, which I believe is George Bush 420. And you have Frivrelm or something. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. But those are the three well-known admins. There are probably others.
Now, the reason I was mentioning, different Housemasters, even though, you debunked it now, was because, Archon bought 2B2T technically. I mean, somebody bought the Archon, and the Archon was already running 2B2T. So, would that affect, who owns 2B2T now? Whoever bought the Archon?
Not exactly. Housemaster never sold the server entirely. He gave them access to it, and the Q server is a direct result of the Archon and the Camping Rusher's involvement. I believe the Q server is still hosted by the Archon and the people of the Archon.
Yeah, explain that whole dynamic, because, look, you know a lot more than I do about basically anything involving the behind the scenes.
Well, what do you want to know specifically?
Specifically, how the Archon is related to 2B2T now, how they're interconnected.
Well, the Camping Rusher offered to buy it for like $20,000, if I remember correctly. And Housemaster said no, so they had to compromise. So they made this deal where I think it was the Camping Rusher could record or something. The money of the queue goes to supporting the server, but otherwise it goes to Housemaster's pockets.
Yes, for his crack addiction.
That's right.
Alright, so I think we covered that a good bit. That was all really exciting to hear about. Glad we could get that red pill out in the air. Get overshadow Fitz by his statements. I wanted to ask your opinions on current 2B2T topics that are on the subreddit. So, first off, the queue has come back into a talking point, how the queue functions. I want to know your opinions on the queue, whether it helps or hurts the server, and whether it's even necessary still.
Yes, it is necessary. I mean, the server, I think it I believe it costs $5,000 a month to run, something like that. And I believe that if the queue did not exist, then it would be really difficult to find the necessary funds to keep the server up. So it makes sense that we should have a queue. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
All right. Another one that I want to bring up is Baba J and the whole future scandal. This turned into sort of a meme on the subreddit that's been going around.
Oh no, there's no backdoor in the future. There is no backdoor. Because if they backdoored it, then they'd have to refund all those people.
So Baba J is just an expert base raider.
Well, they had a bunch of coordinates already. They kind of did the same thing that I did during the Month of Destruction. They had a lot of coordinates. They just decided to destroy them now.
So they were sitting on a whole pile of coordinates.
Yeah, they were. Also, in addition to that, they have Chunk Finder, or the new chunks locator or whatever, which is a really, really helpful tool in finding bases. Almost guarantee that if you follow a path out far enough, you'll find a base.
All right. I have another topic now, which is very recent. I've seen you all over the subreddit recently, and even on other subreddits too, but I'll get to that later. Right now, I want to ask you about colored messages. I was looking at this today. I didn't even know this existed.
Oh, yes, yeah.
What was
there's not much to say about that. It was just a glitch in the plugin on 2B2T that lasted for like a week or so. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I just had to notice your name in the screenshot, so I figured I'd ask you while I had you on.
Yeah.
All right.
Nothing interesting, really.
Something else I want to ask you about that's recent, recent news. Armorsmith has his whole army of bots, spreading the message, the cult of Armorsmith. I think that's what it is. What are your opinions on that?
My opinion, Armorsmith, he's an interesting personality, I'll say that much. He's definitely a known presence on the server, and I don't condone putting bots on the server at all, because those are slots that should be taken up by people. But beyond that, I think that his cult is a joke. It has like 5 active members. In my personal experience with Armorsmith, he hasn't been very well behaved, like I've asked him to be. I own the wiki, and he was asking for administrative privileges simply for the fact that he is Armorsmith, and I turned him down. I said absolutely not, and he got very, very butt blasted about that.
Typical Armorsmith right there.
Yeah, basically.
All right, and I'd like to also ask you, you were on 9B9T recently. Why is that? Were you just coming in to just, check out what was happening, or?
Yeah, I don't wait through the queue. So just recently, I had somebody buy the queue for me. So I have priority queue on my alternative account. So I'm actually going to be probably playing again for the foreseeable future until it runs out, and then I'll leave again.
Yes, so hear that, folks. Jared plays 9B9T when he doesn't have priority. That's why you should play 9B, not 4B, or Constanium, because Constanium logs your IP, and 4B4T is like watered down 2B. 9B is the best server.
Yeah, it is.
Clone server.
Yeah, 9B is the only server that has had a consistent map and is the true clone. 9B was like the first clone I went on to in like July of 2016. And I believe that the map is the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people don't realize 4B is reset like 5 times, like 5 map resets. And you shouldn't play on an Anarchy server where you're scared of map resets getting rid of your base over actual players. It's crazy to me. How people still play there.
I was actually involved in one of those map resets back in 2016. I had operator status on 4B14 and I destroyed everybody's base.
Oh yeah, it used to be owned by Yob, right? He's an old 2B
No,
player.
it used to be owned by JD Ding. I don't remember who Yob is. I think isn't Yob the owner of 9B19?
No, it's JJ or Wired Tombstone.
Hmm. Yeah, it
He,
used to be Yob then that was the owner of 4B4D.
yeah, there's been so many owners. I think John owns it now. John 241. Like, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, he is the owner.
Yeah, he is. Whew.
He's a fucktard.
Yeah, Tex summed it up. Hasn't spoken the entire interview. Just cuts in.
Sorry, I'm trying to do shit.
Like what? What's more important than this interview?
I'm driving right now.
Okay, well, pull over.
No.
Actually, this is a good topic to bring up since we have Tex in here. I know he doesn't want to talk about it. Tex, you know what I'm about to bring up.
No comment.
Tex likes to go around claiming that he has played 2v2T since 2011 and that he's secretly a big player. So, Jared, I'd like to know your thoughts on how stupid that is.
I mean, there's a lot of people who do that. It's really stupid.
I know, right? Yeah,
it's really obvious.
It's so dumb when people lie about being on since 2011.
Well, the thing is, you know who has been on since 2011 if they don't brag about being on since 2011. So, anybody who says they're from 2011 and insists that they're from 2011 is not from 2011.
And
it's just a golden rule.
Proof, yeah. You hear that, Tex?
I mean, even if he joined in 2011 and had veteran queue for a while, it doesn't make him a big player.
Yes, that's true. Only I deem people big players. Jared, you are.
Actually, I make people big players.
You're a big. Wait a second. I was about to throw you as a big player right here. I was about to put you in the big player category. You're saying you claim people to be big players? That's untrue.
Well, yeah, historically, I'm the current king of 2B2T. I can knight people and make them into old fags, honorary old fags. It's one of the perks.
I thought Bernillion had that account.
Well, he has the account. It doesn't mean anything historically. He hasn't done nearly enough shit to be considered the king.
Yeah, that's true. He's done some stuff, but I don't know if that would make him the king. Oh man. Well, Tex, if you have any more talking points.
Not really.
Wow, you've been such a great co-host. Hopefully, Pear will be on next time. You were really useless in this interview.
Yeah, how unfortunate.
So unfortunate. I unblocked you for nothing. Anyways, that has been it for the interview today. I had a great time talking to Jared2013 while he was raiding a base.
That's
talking
right.
to him while he was in his element. I feel like we addressed a lot of stuff. But yeah, last words. If you have anything else to drop, Jared. Any big secrets, big player secrets that are yet to be released?
I hate new faggots. New faggots are the worst kind of people. Yeah, that too. New faggots, though, the children. The children are horrible.
Even if I could be monetized, I don't think I would. Oh man, I'm that much of a big player. They don't want to monetize me.
You can monetize yourself. You just get significantly cut profits because inappropriate content.
Maybe I can get monetized by the Archon.
Maybe so. Although the Archon doesn't exist anymore because the Camping Rusher has moved on to Fortnite.
He went from Minecraft to Rocket League to Fortnite. Just a
quite the downward spiral. Yeah, exactly.
We are in sync. Okay. Anyways, though, that has been it for the interview. Again, I'm wrapping it up again. I'm gonna leave Jared's channel in the description or plug it into the video. I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna learn how to though. Yeah. Bye.